Right. We've seen the state of play. Now I want to talk about all things combat when it comes to Phantom Blade Zero. I did this with Tides of Annihilation and I wanted to get deeper than just talking about the animations of this game because this combat is deep. So let's talk about your combat loadout. Soul can equip two primary weapons at the same time. He can also equip two secondary weapons called Phantom Edges. All four can be switched during combat. Weapon switching is seamless and can be incorporated into combos instead of forcing you to stop, enter a menu, and change weapon, which is so brilliant. That just exaggerates player expression. This means your loadout is effectively a four-part combat kit rather than one sword with a few special moves. The full game contains more than 30 primary weapons and 25 phantom edges, so that's over 55 combat options altogether. Weapons are taken from defeated enemies, so progression continually introduces new ways to fight. The weapons aren't just merely stat variations. Different weapons have their own moves, animations, special mechanics, advantages, and weaknesses. Even weapons belonging to a similar category can fundamentally change how you approach the combat. Some are built around aggressive multi-hit pressure. Some specialize in counters, deflections. Others reward successful parries, provide range attacks, and deliver heavy Sha-Chi damage. The weapons shown so far normally use relatively simple light and heavy attack combinations. Therefore, the depth isn't necessarily about memorizing 30 commands for one weapon. It's about learning the individual rhythm and special mechanic of several weapons, then combining them within one loadout. The Sha-Chi system, now I'm probably not pronouncing that right, so don't kill me for it. Sha-Chi functions as a mixture of stamina and posture. Soul and his enemies both have Sha-Chi. Standing light attacks and normal dodges do not consume it. Heavy attacks and blocking does consume Sha-Chi. Holding block may keep you safe, but repeatedly absorbing powerful attacks will quickly drain your gauge. Completely losing your Sha-Chi causes a stance break. When Soul is stance broken, he becomes vulnerable to major damage. When an enemy Sha-Chi is broken, they are left open to powerful attacks and cinematic executions, pretty much like a structure gauge. This creates a risk-reward decision. Spend Sha-Chi on heavy offense, preserve it for defense, or attempt a precise parry and damage the enemy's gauge instead. Blocking, parrying, and dodging. Phantom Blade Zero gives you three defensive answers. Hold block for the safest response, time the block for a parry, dodge to avoid attacks, and reposition. However, special enemy attacks require specific responses. Blue brutal attacks can technically be blocked, but doing so removes a large amount of Sha-Chi. The stronger answer actually is perfect parry. Successfully parrying one of those blue brutal attacks activate a Ghoststep, allowing Soul to move through or behind the enemy and immediately counterattack. As usual, this game has red killer attacks. We know this from many action RPGs. The red attacks cannot be blocked or parried. They must be dodged. Dodging at the final moment also activates Ghoststep and creates a counter opportunity, acting like a perfect dodge, shall we say. This means the game isn't asking players to parry absolutely everything like Sekiro. You must read the attack, recognize its category, then select the correct defensive response. Offense and defense are designed to flow together, making parry or dodge feel like another part of your combo rather than a complete interruption. Ghost Step apparently is more than just a perfect dodge. Ghost Step instantly changes Soul's positioning. It commonly places him behind or beside the attacker. That means a successful defensive read simultaneously avoids damage, creates an advantageous angle, and begins your next offensive sequence. Against groups, Ghost Step could also stop you from being trapped in the middle of several enemies. In this game, you definitely don't want to be overwhelmed. This is one of the clearest examples of the game's main philosophy. Defense and offense happening within the same movement. Power surge attacks. Primary weapons have been shown with unique special attacks referred to in previews as power surges. These function like each weapon's ultimate or signature technique. Their function changes according to the equipped weapon rather than being one universal super attack. Combat activity and successful defensive play help build access to stronger techniques. Weapon upgrades and builds. Weapons can be upgraded individually. Upgrading does more than increase attack power. It can unlock additional forms, skills, and techniques. Accessories can be paired with weapons to create more specialized builds. The latest footage also showed a wider skill tree for strengthening soul. Builds can support close range pressure, range combat, heavy stance damage, or summons that assist you during the fights, as we saw in the trailer. If you invest in a weapon and later says change your mind, they said you could reforge it. It's very important because S Game wants players experimenting with its full arsenal instead of becoming permanently locked into the first upgraded weapon sword they find. The multi-enemy combat system is different. The combat isn't designed exclusively around one-on-one boss encounters. Enemies can use a collective AI system that allows entire groups to behave like a coordinated formation. They attack from different directions, reposition around Soul, and combine their actions. We see that in a few of the trailers with a multi-enemy boss fight. Now let's talk about the difficulty. Wayfarer is built for players who mainly want the story and cinematic action. Pathbreaker is the standard experience. So what the devs intended for you to kind of play. That's how I see the normal experience. Hellwalker, however, more demanding combat with advanced and adaptive enemy behavior. And then after that is 66 days. A post-game challenge using Hellwalker level enemies and a limited pool of 66 lives. Hellwalker doesn't simply give enemies more health. Bosses gain new moves. The parry window is reportedly 2 frames shorter than on lower difficulties. Failed parries cost more Sha-Chi. Humanoid bosses analyze distance, missed attacks, and repeated player behavior. You're gonna get punished. A boss can change the rest of its combo depending on whether its previous attack connected. If you parry the same sequence repeatedly, a boss can cancel the expected finishing attack rather than giving you an easy encounter. Enemies can perform their own perfect defense and punish you. S-Game has compared some Hellwalker humanoid bosses to fighting game opponents rather than enemies running through fixed Souls-like patterns, if you get what I mean. The 66 days mode, however. Soul only has 66 days left to live. In 66 days mode, that becomes an actual gameplay rule. You basically have 66 lives. Every death removes 1 day. If all 66 days are lost, the run ends. It reportedly unlocks after completing the game on Pathbreaker or Hellwalker. That potentially turns the entire campaign into a challenge mode where consistency and build matters a lot. This is the mode that I really want to play on. It intrigues me so much. So I am definitely going through Hellwalker and then 66 days. I want to learn every single thing about this game. So Phantom Blade Zero doesn't really have the crazy complexity like Devil May Cry can get, but it does have its own angle and its own depth. Bro, the mid-combo weapon switching, the Sha-Chi management, the perfect dodging, perfect parrying, the way the enemies attack you in formation, all of this just creates a very interesting combat experience. And it's not just your run-of-the-mill hack and slash game. It also ain't your run-of-the-mill Souls games. It takes both of them and fuses them together in its own unique way. Bro, I cannot wait for Phantom Blade Zero. This game is probably the game I'm actually most excited for this year. Anyway, comment section. Talk about what you think about Phantom Blade Zero. I didn't want to overly break down too much of the information because it does talk about the weapon types that have been revealed. However, too much information can be deemed as spoilers, in my opinion. So I left that part out of this video. From what I'm hearing, this game is definitely going to be one of them ones. Like I said, anyway, hit that subscribe button if you want to keep up to date with all things action RPGs. That's what we do here on this channel. Anything that is melee focused action RPGs, we are there. We are definitely there. Anyway, my name is Face. Like I said, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you really rate this video. That really helps. Comment section. Let's talk about it, man. The comment section is my favorite part of content creation. Let's talk about it. Anyway, my name is Face and I'm signing out. Peace.